for me, Bitcoin and crypto are two separate things to invest in. The first thing they should do is open up an account at Bitget.
That's true.
That's it. Just do that. Don't. I don't say buy. Just open up an account. Start there, right? And then later on go. Okay, I need to buy that. So let's go and learn how to buy it at Bitget. That's what you need to do. You need to start somewhere, one step at a time. You have to be right twice. Once buying it and once selling it. Imagine when we're all using it as money. Oof, that's more. Well, way more than $1 million of Bitcoin. The more stuff the token has use for,
Utility.
the more it has value. It's not complicated here. It's the same applies for the US dollar. Let's just say if you have 0.28 Bitcoin, you will be in the top 1% of people with 0.28 Bitcoin. 0.28 is all you're going to need.
Hello, welcome to Bitget Show. I'm your host, Vugar Usi. And today we have the man who said us so 10 years ago to buy Bitcoin at $1 when it was $1.60. And I think most of us did not follow the advice, but today he's telling again. Welcome to the studio. How are you, Davinci?
Thanks. I'm glad to be here. I'm good. You know how I am. 5 by 5.
Today you posted another video telling us to buy Bitcoin and buy it now. Mm-hmm. You did so 10 years ago. Who didn't listen to you? I'm sure sitting and biting their nails in regret. Where is it going?
Well, Bitcoin's going to be money. And because it has to have a market cap high enough to be money, that means we're going to see a market cap well over $25 trillion in valuation. Probably even more because basically you have to take all the stuff, everything from this microphone, the cup, my ring, everything that exists, and figure out the price. And that's the other side of that ledger is money, because that's what money is, just an aggregate and of assets in our economy. It's just another thing, but its value is 50% of everything else. So imagine when we're all using it as money. Oof, that's more. Well, way more than $1 million of Bitcoin.
It is a lot of money and
a lot of value. A lot of value, because you don't understand how most people don't understand that once we convert over to Bitcoin, a lot of things that you currently value will drop. So, for example, a house, most houses are overpriced. The real price of a house is what you can work and save for, not this in crazy numbers for houses right today. Wait until that resets, because the only reason why it's there is because we borrow money to
buy an asset,
to buy the asset. And once that goes away, because in the future you won't be able to do that with Bitcoin, because no one will lend you Bitcoins for a depreciating asset, which a house is, even though you're like, well, it's always going up. Yeah, it's because you keep printing money to buy it.
Yeah, actually, seriously, 2008 bubble and also today's economy, it increases in a dollar value, but then there's all the inflation counted in. It actually doesn't move so far.
Yes. So wait until that realization hits. Ooh, boy, the world's going to be very different. Whilst you can make money from real estate today, of course, using the printing press, which is borrowing money, that will go away, right? Because once the printing presses go away, that's it, that's gone. So take advantage now, but in the future, forget it.
You had made amazing points about a value of the gold and silver, even it's on your a YouTube bio. And at some point in humans' history, we decided that, okay, gold is valuable. Let's make it the money. And it was going for centuries now. What do you think?
Still is valuable.
It is, definitely. And what do you think when humanity will this reality will hit when humanity will understand that Bitcoin is the next valuable thing?
I think it'll take the next generation going away, or the older generation going away, and the next few generations coming in, because the concept of a digital asset that you can't see has value is difficult. Like, for example, when we invented electricity, it was difficult for people to see that everything would be running off of electricity, right? So, and that took a long time, right? But they couldn't see electricity. They can't feel it. They can't touch it. They can't hold it. They can't put it in a pocket, right? But it's super valuable, right? And the same with Bitcoin, because even though you can't put it in your pocket, can't see it, touch it, that's perfect. Why? Because try to travel anywhere on this planet with $100,000 in cash. You'll go to jail. If you're lucky, they'll only take it.
If you are lucky, it is crime. It's crime in many places. You can't go with more than $10,000. Like,
yeah, exactly. If you do that with gold, same with gold, 100,000 in gold. In fact, I traveled to Dubai with $100,000 in gold, and they almost took it. The only reason why they didn't take it is because the customs agent was like, "Aren't you
privilege?" Having a known face helps, right?
Yeah. So, yes, I'm the guy who told you to buy Bitcoin at $1. You know what he asked me after that? So what should I buy?
Gold or Bitcoin?
Yeah, he let me go, and then with all my gold. So yeah,
that's great. That's incredible. But like, how did you end up? Especially like, I think like YouTube is a great place because everything is pretty transparent, and we see your videos like from 10 years ago when people were not talking about anything closer to crypto. You were the one in the business. Like, how did you start it? Like, how one even comes to that realization? Okay, today everyone talks about it. Every news is about BlackRock ETF bubble going up, going down. But like 10 years ago, there was like maybe like 2 exchanges out there. Like, how it all started?
I mean, well, honestly, I was earlier than just 10 years ago, because that was the video that got popular. I have videos from March of 2011, or all of 2011 actually. If you go research them, even a video in April of 2011 where I said, "Listen, people, I don't know what's wrong with you. I'm telling you, this is going to make you rich. If you spend $1,000 into this, I will guarantee that $1,000, and you just write me, and I will guarantee it. Right? If it goes to zero, I'll give you your $1,000 back. That's how sure I am." And that was when it was $1, actually $1, and only 5 people took me up on that offer. 5 people, okay? And you can see that video. It's up there on my YouTube channel. And I got involved in Bitcoin only because, somebody, because I was doing videos since 2008 explaining to people how our financial system is a fraud. It transfers wealth from the poor and the middle class to the rich. It's the biggest fraud that's ever perpetrated on humanity, ever. I think it will go down in history books as that, right? Once we switch to Bitcoin and people wake up from the matrix, because if you can print money, right? If you can print money and you're like, "Wow, I'm rich. I make everybody slave. Oh my God." What's the first thing you should do? Probably pay for the schools. Why? Because you don't want anybody to learn that your ability to print money makes them a slave. You don't want schools to teach people that.
That's it. Even like school doesn't teach.
That'd be dumb.
Schools doesn't teach like a basics, right? Even taxation, all the like life skills. School doesn't do it because they don't want you to be independent.
Because you want worker bees, right? You want slaves, right? So obviously, right, you have to make sure the schools teach you how to be a good slave. Right? Like, I got unlimited money and I want to keep that. How can I best do that? That's right. I can pay for the schools. Oh, but wait, that's dumb, because you know what? If I pay for the schools directly, people are going to figure it out that I've got an alternative motive. I've got an even better idea. I'll convince the government to pay for the schools and tax you
for that school.
privilege.
That is a beautiful vicious circle out there,
Yes,
right?
it is. It is an ingenious system that these guys invented, and they bragged about it in their writings. In fact, you could learn about which books they bragged about this ingenious system. If you go and read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, it has the person who wrote that, G. Edward Griffin. He does lots of referencing of other material, so you'll be able to verify his facts.
That's incredible. I think like one thing fascinates me about like the entire monetary system is that money actually doesn't have much value. It takes around like a 20 cents to print like $100 bill, but the value comes when you transact with it. And I think one of the biggest issues today's crypto industry faces that unfortunately there isn't much adoption from the retail side. Like you don't go to the supermarket to buy for an ice cream with a crypto, and it becomes much easier through all these new credit cards backed by crypto. But like at some point you kind of end up converting the crypto to fiat and do transact with it. Like what do you think, like what shall happen for that true mass adoption?
The fact that you can't buy ice cream today with Bitcoin is irrelevant. Here's why. That's like going back in time, watching them light up the Eiffel Tower and going, well, you can't light up your house with electricity, so it's a useless thing. What? Yeah, you can't do it now. But when you can do it in the future, it's kind of late to invest.
Very late.
So
Yeah,
that's my point.
That's a great point. Like going back to that first experience of 5 only people who listened to you and bought Bitcoin, right? Today, it's much easier. You go to Bitget or any other centralized, even decentralized exchange. You can easily buy and sell tokens, different coins, including Bitcoin. Like, how was that experience back in times? Like, you had to, like, how was that purchase experience even like 10 years ago?
Well, if you even say even 10 years, I mean, even when it was in 2011, which was 12 years ago, right? Boy, well, it was difficult. One of the things I could, the only wallet that was in existence was the what's it called, the Bitcoin Core wallet, and you had to wait for it to sync. That was, and then other people created wallets that ended up collapsing or stealing all your money. It was the wild west in the early days, and in fact, I ended up having to hold quite a few people's Bitcoin for them because they just couldn't even do it themselves, right? And most of them, right, when I bought it for them, they bought it for less than $20. Most of them bought it on less than $10, and as soon as it hit $50, the majority of them sold at $50. The majority, and it never saw $50 again. Right? Never saw that again, and they sold it all. It's so unfortunate. Right? They just wouldn't listen when I said, "Hey, just sell half and let the rest ride." Right? You made profit. Just see what happens. No. I'm out. I'm done. Right? And it was quite shocking. Right? So, anyways, back then it was difficult. So difficult to buy Bitcoin. For me, I decided to just mine, because I was so good at computer systems and stuff like that, and also a software engineer. So I was mining Bitcoin, and the majority of my Bitcoin at home. And as time went on in 2013, more people wanted to get Bitcoin, wanted to own Bitcoin. And so I would give them wallets, right? And those wallets, all those wallet softwares that I gave them, the different ones that I've tried, they're all dead. They're all don't exist anymore. Quite a few people I had to help them retrieve their Bitcoin out of these old and dead wallets.
Wow, that's a lot of assets out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how actually when we look at how fast things evolves, considering like how many roadblocks are there, I think crypto industry is doing much better than many anticipate. What do you think about it?
Crypto history? What?
And crypto history and crypto as a technology, is it evolving fast enough?
Yes, it's moving way faster than I can, keep up with. I mean, I don't even have enough information about ordinals. I don't have enough information about the latest update to Bitcoin's protocol, or the encryption, how they have Schnorr signatures, Taproot, and all that. I just know that right now with both with Schnorr signatures and Taproot, that you can just create a transaction that came from multiple people, but looks like only one person made it. So at the end of the day, when it's stored in the blockchain, it's like, oh, that was just one transaction, but really it was many, right? And so the way it's done is because of a mathematical algorithm of how you can compress all the transactions together to make it look like one. And this reduces the size in the blockchain.
That's good. That's great. Honestly, I think like technology needs to like become super, advanced in order to step into that next stage where it is more of a retail and less of an investment tool. But like, what do you think is crypto today and today's stage? Is it more about like an investment and buying and holding, or is it, as your friends did, like buy at 20, sell at 50 kind of a game? What is your overall approach into like not only Bitcoin, but like overall crypto as an full cycle industry?
Well, for me, Bitcoin and crypto are two separate things to invest in. One is Bitcoin is the long-term asset that will be money, and you should be buying it, working, and saving as much as you possibly can for the day that it is money. You will be considered a legend if you do that. Everybody will be talking about you, right?
The same way we talk about you.
Yes, because if you wait for that day, very few people will. Very few. And if you are one of those people watching and you decide to do that, you just save, and you wait for that day that everybody's using it to buy groceries and stuff like that, the amount of value you will have, let's just say if you have 0.28 Bitcoin, you will be in the top 1% of people with 0.28 Bitcoin. 0.28 is all you're going to need. Think about that to be in the top 1%. So yeah, go do it.
Go to right? 0.28.
Yeah. But obviously, that's what most people won't do that. They will be relegated to working and earning satoshis and probably even micro satoshis, right? Because most people just are too afraid, and I think the first thing they should do is open up an account at Bitget.
That's true.
That's it. Just do that. Don't. I don't say buy. Just open up an account. Start there, right? And then later on go, okay, I need to buy that. So let's go and learn how to buy it at Bitget. That's what you need to do. You need to start somewhere, one step at a time. And people are afraid because they think about the whole process. Okay, just one process. Open an account, right, at the exchange. If it's not Bitcoin, any exchange, and just move on to the process of buying some. Yeah, you will have to do some KYC in most of the exchanges, right? But that means you have to provide your ID. But just provide your ID, right? And that's the second step. And then eventually you will get into moving into buying some Bitcoin. And then you asked me about the crypto and in general. The crypto industry is going to be massive because it can take over all of the finances that we have today and do it in an honest fashion. Right now, the finances we have in today's world is a big crime. There's lots of crime in this financial system. Let me give you an example of one of the crimes that are taking place today. Most wealthy people, when I tell them don't buy the silver ETF because there is no silver behind it, do you know what they would tell me? Yeah, we know. So I'll sell it when it's time to do this all. That's just dumb. Right? But All right. And you're like, maybe you are one of those people who think, okay, well, how could there not be silver? It's a fraud. Yeah, you would be right. If there's no silver, that would be fraud. So they're not going to commit fraud. No way, right? In the what's it called, the prospectus, it states that if you buy this ETF and they have a custodial, because BlackRock just manages the ETF, but they don't hold the silver. They have a custodial that does that. So another company is holding the silver for them. If that company does not have the silver, that's not their fault. That's your fault, insurance. You're gonna have to sue them. And be like, okay, they have to have the silver, right? Yeah, they do have to have the silver, right? Because they can't commit fraud, right? They'll still people go to jail, right? So how can they not have silver if they don't want to go to jail, right? Well, there's something called leasing. Leasing, right? You can look this up, right? Leasing is when you, for example, lease a car, and you get the ownership of the car, and you're like, my name is not on the ownership. Yeah, you just leased it. The ownership still belongs to the car dealership or the car manufacturer. They have it on their books as an asset on their books, and legally, they still own it. And it's still an asset that they value their company against. So, with that thought in mind, you could also lease gold and silver. In fact, there is, if you Google gold and silver leasing, you'll see that's possible. And
it's like a multiplication of assets, like the one asset held by so many parties and value double, tripled.
You're starting to see the bigger picture here, right? As it unfolds. So I can now, the custodial can lease the gold out or lease the silver out and legally still have it on their books. And that's legal, right? So now they don't have any silver, they don't have any gold, but legally they do. And you're like, well, wait a second here. So when I sue them and they don't have the silver, right, they're going to have to go buy it. Dude, if you were to lend somebody your lawnmower and they were to sell that lawnmower and you sued them for the lawnmower, would you be able to win the lawnmower back? No. What would you win? Dollars. Yes. So, thus, legally, you're only allowed to be received dollars, not silver, in return. And thus, you will get dollars in return. Because guess where dollars come from? That's right.
We print them. Basically, we just print it for you.
And so, effectively, the custodial can create a derivative again with the central bank to help ensure that, hey, if I get screwed and I lose all this money, you're going to cover it by printing some more money to cover those people through a complex derivative.
It's becoming more and more like a horror Halloween story than an actual.
So our system could create a massive setup of fraud because it's already a basis of fraud. Do you understand? Its base is a fraud. So how far-fetched is it to create a lot of even more fraud on top of the fraud in order to keep the system going? Because the only way to keep the system going is for you to believe that this money has value where you could put it into assets such as gold and silver. Oh, look, gold and silver is pretty cheap. I could buy a lot of that, right? Yes, you're buying a lot of gold and silver, but it's not actually gold and silver that you actually own, right? And so this you believe you're putting your money into these assets that are basically just taking your money, taking your value. And so they can give that perception that, hey, there's nothing wrong because you're not seeing the value of Bitcoin. I mean, silver, Bitcoin, because Bitcoin ETF is coming, going up. So you're thinking there's nothing wrong. But meanwhile, it will come to an end. And when it does, and you're not holding the asset, you're SOL, not Solana.
That is very true. And as we are like discussing these assets and kind of safeguarding what you have and having true custodianship, and I'm not talking about like digital assets only or crypto only, like today, what kind of asset portfolio Davinci has or recommends or thinks that is the most safest way? And again, not only the crypto, like all the assets together. Like how much you think is important to still invest in gold? How much is it important to have a real estate? What kind of investment should go to like a Bitcoin and all the others?
Well, there's many things you can invest in and many things that can make you money. And it's okay to invest in real estate if you do it properly. Only a small percentage of people know how to do that. If you buy a house outright cash, you made the mistake. If you buy the house to live in it and treat it as a piggy bank, you're making a huge mistake. But if you're actually taking the money from the bank to buy the house and have somebody rent it and pay the mortgage, you're a smart dude.
Do it.
Right? This is how you actually get real assets over a long period of time in our current financial system. Now, however you decide to make money, it's fine. But you need to save it in real assets that you actually take possession of or you have direct ownership of. Without that, there is a high probability, even in any exchanges, because they're doing the KYC, that the government could come to all the exchanges because you are subjected to government rule.
Regulations, yes.
And say, yeah, you know what? Crypto is really dangerous to people and we want to help them out. We want to make sure that they're okay. And so we're going to take possession of that crypto and give them dollars. We can legally do that because we're not stealing it. We're not stealing it. We're paying them for those assets.
Again with dollars. Again with the money we printed.
And this is why you are required to know who these people are so that government A will take their crypto from people that are under government A, and people under government B will take money from the people under government B. Because in the world of fiat money and your ability to print and have slaves, you want to make sure that these slaves are yours and those slaves are his.
Who is the owner?
Exactly.
A true ownership.
Yeah.
True custodianship.
Yes.
Davinci, I want to take the discussion to very different, little bit like a more chilled direction. And we've been chilled. While we are being reminded how slaved we are or enslaved we are.
Oh, come on. You know what? It is what it is, right? It's not like you have to go, oh my God, I'm a slave. It is what it is. Okay, so now I know. So now I'm going to do something to help protect myself because that's all you can do.
That's all you should do also.
Exactly.
To protect yourself. Davinci, I have a question. All this time being in the industry, of course, buying, selling, investing, reinvesting, was there a moment in your crypto journey when you regretted for doing something or not doing something?
Of course.
What was the biggest?
Many things.
Tell us a story.
Oh my God, I don't know which one's the story to begin with. I can tell you that I didn't start using any of my crypto until 2013 after it went to 1300. Yeah, I ended up trading badly and losing hundreds and hundreds of Bitcoins. That was a big mistake because I thought I could trade. That's a one thing about trading people. If you decide to jump on any exchange to do anything other than buying Bitcoin or buying a crypto that you're gonna maybe store for a long term, you're not a trader. Don't pretend to be. Don't feel that you are. If you're just a gambler, unless you've taken courses to do so and you spent 10,000 hours trading and you know the disciplines of trading, that's when you're a trader. Anything else, you're just lucky. If you get lucky, that's the worst thing that happened to you, especially in this, because the market will punish you for your luck. And here's how. For example, there was a video. I did a podcast, and I wish I knew where that was, where I was talking to somebody as Bitcoin was going up to $266, and I said, I got to get off this podcast. I want to sell right now because I think Bitcoin has topped out at $266, and it did. I hit the sell button at MTGOX, and because MTGOX was delayed, there was a complete delay before my order actually got filled, and it got filled at $200, my sell order, and it dropped all the way down. Now I got lucky twice. I typed in the exact amount I wanted to buy. It was like $55 and 56 cents or something like that. And I got almost completely filled. And I was the last one to get filled. I wish I was always wanting to take a copy of that fill order, because that was just fucking stupid luck. Right? And I thought I was the best trader in the planet after doing that. And that was my huge mistake.
You got punished?
Because I got lucky. And because I got lucky on that twice, because lucky when I sold, lucky when I bought back, I didn't get completely filled, but that's not, like, I did get like 60% filled, right? Because I was the last person. And it never came back to that price. And so, what happened was, I thought I was like the best trader in the world. And obviously I went on to lose a lot of money after that, right? I didn't like consistently trade after that. I just bought a little bit here and there. And just later on, when I started to actually trade after Bitcoin fell from the $1,300 to $800, I started trading after that. Did I ever get hammered? And when it was in the $300 range, oh my gosh, from the $200 to $300 range, the market just chewed me up and spat me out. And that was the worst time where I lost the most amount of money. And that lesson got me into learning how to trade.
I think there's a great a pattern I see in this conversation where you talk about Bitcoin being at $50, then Bitcoin being at 300, Bitcoin reaching 1,000, and today we are in a place where Bitcoin is over at 30,000, and it's always we always then it hit the ceiling, hit the bottom, hit the ceiling, hit the bottom. It's always kind of consistently growing, and I think it's the only asset that showed such
it will always consistently grow for forever. So as long as it exists, it will constantly grow in value, depending on, of course, the number of people on the planet, of course, but because it requires people and things to grow in value. So if there's either people the population reduces, then the value will drop, or if there's less stuff to buy, the value will drop as well. So those are the only cases in its future where it could drop in value, because it's fixed.
Exactly, and it is limited in supply. No one can push the button to print more.
Because of the fixed supply, it's either the only other factor that causes its price to drop is the amount of people that exist and the amount of stuff or the amount of stuff. So this is why our current financial system requires us to produce a bunch of stuff that we don't need and is junk. Because the more stuff we have or you could buy with it, the more it has value. This is one of the things I tell many of the projects that come to me and ask me about what I talk about their tokenomics and especially if it's a game, and and what annoys me is when the game does not use its own token in the game to buy everything, to do anything, because the more stuff the token has use for,
utility,
the more it has value. It's not complicated here. It's the same applies for the US dollar. The same is going to apply for your token.
More things to buy, more value it gets.
Exactly.
Value happens during the transaction.
Exactly.
You mentioned an amazing point regarding opening an account on Bitget and, as a first step, and then thinking what to do, KYC, then start, buying and holding. What is your top level kind of a recommendation for anyone who is no coiner, no wallet, they just came to Bitget, they just opened, or any other exchange, and they start thinking about asset, like where to start, what to buy?
Bitcoin.
And? Or is there any and?
You can get Ethereum too, but start with Bitcoin because it's the one cryptocurrency that can't be destroyed by government. All the others can technically be destroyed by government because they're somewhat centralized. There's people to go to say, hey, you're gonna stop that or else.
Shut it off.
Yeah, there's people you can do that to, and so or people but they won't want to do that overtly because overtly it just creates another problem for them because then people will see it, and then they will have to build things that will prevent it. So if the government is dumb enough to do that, then they'll just make crypto stronger. So they won't probably do that. They'll probably do it in like a non-overt way, not a direct way. They'll try to obfuscate it more of like the CIA has come to their desk and you're like, here's a video of who killed JFK. Now, you don't want to end up like him, do you? So here's what we're going to do.
Right. Here's a recipe.
Right. You can stay quiet. Right. So they'll probably, or they'll just be more of like, hey, what do you need? How much cash you need? Right. We can print it out.
Bags full of cash, freshly printed.
We'll get you what you need.
But what kind of portfolio do you have? Can I ask that question? Is there like a division? Is there like this hypothetical pie in your mind that you kind of stick to?
I don't really publicly state what I have for security reasons. I may have some Bitcoin. I may have no Bitcoin. Yeah, I might have spent it all.
Ooh, says the guy who printed Bitcoin at home.
I may have lost it in a boating accident. I don't know, man. It's just, stuff happens.
Well, for beginners, what kind of portfolio do you recommend? I heard some people on this chair were recommending around like a 30-20 kind of division or 50-30-20 Bitcoin.
It's all up to you.
Ethereum.
I mean, I would suggest you if you want, you can go 100% Bitcoin and you'll be all right because low probability of that crashing to zero. But same with Ethereum, is still a decent probability of it not going and it not disappearing. As for which was going to perform better? Well, they'll perform better at different times, and why guess at that? You can put in a percentage here and percentage there, but what about the other altcoins out there? They will at times outperform Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yes, that's true, but they're high risk, and that performance is only temporary. So you have to be able to sell the top. So you have to be right twice: once buying it and once selling it. And you may not have the skills to do that. So the best thing to do, right, if you're not willing to spend the time studying what to buy and when to sell, it's to be safe, just buy Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum.
And be on the safe side. I think like to summarize this advice, we could say that if you are in here for a longer term gains and not to do like to replicate the market kind of conditions and saying, oh, it's going down, let me sell. Oh, it's going up, let me be emotional. We should stick to, which is the father of all Bitcoin.
Yes, I mean, it's what you just said, being emotional. No, I'm not going to be emotional. Good luck with that, because even I am emotional.
Yeah, we are emotional human beings, right? We can't be like...
Exactly. So it might be the easiest thing to do is to buy and hold Bitcoin, but it's also the hardest thing to do, because you'd be like, oh, it's going up, yay. And then, oh, it's going down. I could have just sold and bought back. Oh, that feeling is so dangerous, because you'll end up doing it and not buying back. That's happened to more people than you believe, more people than you know.
That's so true. Talking of Bitcoin going up and going up before it goes down again, what is your feeling about the overall market? When is the next bull run, and what can lead to the next bull run?
I think we're already in the bull run sort of semi-phase here. This is like the market has turned, and we're not seeing the lows again, the 17K. If you do see the 17K, you are a lucky son of a gun. You should buy it with both hands. The odds of that's a gift at that point, if that ever happens. And then if we do have it will probably be a very short, brief time. So you might want to jump on that. But anyways, yeah, we are beginning to move higher, and we're going to see after the halving, Bitcoin just take off from there, and we'll never see the lows again, 20K again. We're probably never going to see 30K again, right? We might see 42, 43 after we see the blow off top, but that's the worst case scenario. And so there you go. You right now are buying the lowest point for Bitcoin if we're under 40K whilst you're watching this.
That's true. And I think it's kind of a last exit possibility, or last getting in possibility before
last
a very
call
long
for alcohol or Bitcoin.
last call for Bitcoin. I think that's a very true term. And I think it's very interesting, like how we were seeing in a bull run that everyone was really interested, like even as basic as like a Google search terms and volumes, you will see like how many people were like searching to invest. And the moment the market went down, they were like, yes, that was bubble. It bursted. Luckily, I didn't get in. And then second round comes, and kind of this pattern follows. What was the any philosophical takeaway from all your crypto journey?
Philosophical takeaway. Well, first off, one of the things that I learned about money, because money is basically just an asset that you did not learn how it works, why it works, and our history of money. That's on purpose, because, hey, if I have a printing press, I'd make sure that you didn't learn either. But anyways, and one of the things is that whenever we use good money, economy, everything flourishes. People, we build better things. We have technology, art, science improves. Everything improves greatly. And it's because you are working for an asset that you know for sure will maintain its value or increase its value over time. And so you're not willing to give that hard asset up, like, dollars, who cares, right? Whatever. I can get more, a bit more, right? I can just borrow more, right? But with the hard asset, it's you are not going to accept subpar products. You're not going to accept a banana on the wall as art. When you have dollars and you have unlimited dollars that can print forever, yeah, who cares? You want to sell me a banana art? Sell it to me. It's like I lasted these stupid dollars. Right? Right? But when you see and work hard for, and you realize how hard it is to work for real value, you're not going to give it away unless someone produces something real hard. And so that's the key thing we're going to see in the future with our digital age of money, Bitcoin. And yeah, it's going to be a great future because this throughout history, again, a history that you have not learned. Whenever we've switched back from bad money to good money, the world gets so much better. But unfortunately, there is a negative side of when we do switch from bad money to good money. There's many examples of us basically going into despotism because of what happens is with bad money, it wipes out the poor and the middle class completely. And the only people at the top are the people who have access to the printing press. And do you think if I have access to a printing press and press money and I made sure that you do not know about it, does that make me a good person? No.
Does that make you a rich person?
Yes, but think about the quality of the character of that person. And they will have all the wealth and you will not. And so they will rule those who's got the gold rules, right? That's the golden rule. So they'll have all the wealth and be able to rule over you. And if they're already willing to, cheat you, how are they going to treat you when you're completely broke? Think about that for a second. Yeah, not very good.
You were just mentioning this banana art on the wall. And we have seen all this rise and fall of NFT art in past bull run. Why do you think crypto art scene couldn't replicate the success of the tangible art scene where billions and billions of dollars are moving around?
Because we just got here. We just got here. That's like saying, why can't Bitcoin represent the success of the Federal Reserve? Because it just got here. Right? It's early. That's going to happen eventually with NFTs because one of the problems with physical art is that you have people not only forging the actual art piece, they actually forge the basically the certificate of authentication that this came from XYZ location. And so that's a problem. And these authentication documents are very, very excellently forged. You can't do that on the blockchain. You can't forge the ownership right. So you know where it came from and you know who has it, period. This is coming. So that means this value exchange of artwork is coming to a theater near you. It's just, hey, it didn't fail. It's just early. That's like saying, why did we not have cars everywhere right away? Yeah, because, we need gas stations, right? We need roads, right? Take some time, right, to build all that infrastructure, right? The only roads that exist are in the cities. and they're not very hospitable to cars at the time. So yeah, it's gonna take some time, but it will come, and man, it's going to be the biggest. It's going to be where all art is traded. Now, I want to point out that NFTs will be created on infinitum NFT items. Like, for example, how many different baseball card companies were there? I don't know, but there was a lot. Are those baseball cards, all of them, any of them, every single one of them, maybe? Let's if we look at them as a whole, I would say large percentage of them are worthless. Well, the same will apply to NFTs in the future. A lot of things that you might have collected in the past that you thought might be valuable in the future, and most of them are worthless. That's the same thing that's going to apply for NFTs.
Only some of them will be valuable.
Yeah, only some. Yeah. Right? But the majority, probably 99%, will be worthless.
And what do you think about digital consumption? Because you mentioned the way you consult the games and you want that whatever token is there has enough utility, and more utility, more transaction is better. Do you think that for the success of crypto in a bigger and a longer run, we need to focus on more possibilities for its utilization on like a digital kind of a sphere? Because as we already discussed, like going and buying tangible things, it's not still there. But like, what can be the other way to consume whatever we have within that ecosystem?
Well, I mean, to consume in the ecosystem of what, games, or are you talking about in
Gaming, trading, general collectibles?
Well, I mean, individuals have to come up with unique ways to come up to basically find use cases for these tokens, and once you do, right, that increases its value. Without that, its value will stagnate, because if it's only used for trading on exchange, it's not going to be useful.
Trading on the exchange is not useful, but buying and keeping it for a long run definitely is.
Yeah, I mean, like, for example, the fact that Bitcoin has ordinals, right? That increased its use case. Right? So that's an example of increasing its use case. That's a unique thing that was added to the Bitcoin protocol that ended up increasing its use case and ended up increasing its usability. In fact, it increased it such to a point where even Peter Schiff, the biggest hater of Bitcoin, is now selling ordinals on the Bitcoin blockchain. Thanks for coming on board, Peter.
No, actually, like, I think, like, even though like some people were skeptical about the industry, we saw a huge mind shift, right? BlackRock and its CEO was so much against the Bitcoin, and then they are actually moving the market by just announcing that they really applying and trying to get into. And I saw a lot of personal friends and family who literally changed their mind during the process and get rid of that skepticism about entire ecosystem and crypto. Like, what do you think? Like, first of all, what serves to that negative aspect of the industry, and how do you, as a front runner of the industry, you are educating millions through your videos, and how do you influence the friends and family and people really around you about the industry?
Well, one is fear. It's because it's kind of scary, right? Your money, and you think of your money as your safety net, everything you've got, and so you don't want to do something that could end up losing it. So that's the number one problem, right? And it's a big world. Where do I go? How do I know that Bitget is safe? How do I know, right? How do I know, right? And I don't even understand what Bitget is. They don't know what an exchange is even, right? They don't even know, probably even know how Bitcoin gets its value. Does somebody tell it this is the value, right? They don't understand that there's a bunch of people buying and selling at certain prices and saying, hey, I'm willing to sell at this price, I'm willing to buy at that price. They don't understand all that. And so this is a completely new world. Then on top of that, there's fraud. People defrauding people all the time in this network, in this ecosystem. And so it can be very scary. People pretend to be me. People pretend to be you. People pretend to be, all the important figures in this space and defraud people. So it's kind of scary. So that's why it's really difficult for people to jump in. But without risk, there's no reward, right? If you don't take any risks, there's no reward. So you start small, right? See what happens, right? See if you lose that small amount, it's okay. You try, you learn something. And that's how you do it. Basically, start small. Now, if you do, and you learn, if you do finally get into Bitcoin, I want to talk about what is the end result. Because you talked about a bubble and people being afraid that, hey, I missed the bubble. Thank God. No, you didn't. That's not a bubble. A bubble is when something raises to a extremely high price that is so ridiculous that it will never come back to it. For example, tulips. Did you know that the tulip bubble, you can buy, at the height of the tulip bubble, you can buy with one bulb of a tulip, you can convert it to the value of a whole mansion. That's ridiculous for something that you can grow and multiply. So if tulips are unlimited in supply and Bitcoin is limited in supply, it's the first asset that's ever limited in supply, what kind of bubble this thing will have? Ooh, now you're thinking, wait a second. Yeah, if the masses start joining in heavy, the bubble you're going to see is going to be so big that it will probably be the largest bubble in the history of all mankind. Why? Because the first time in history, we are on a system of money that everyone is using that is a fraud. Every single person on this planet, for the first time in history, is being defrauded by the fiat system for the first time, because throughout history, it only occurred in specific regions. In the Asian region, in the France maybe, then the UK, then the Spain. It would only happen in different areas. It wasn't happening worldwide. For the first time now, it's happening worldwide. And the first time now, we have a worldwide currency that you can actually switch to. Right? Can you imagine what that's going to look like? And you're like, well, wouldn't the government shut off the exchanges? There's something called decentralized exchanges. They can't shut them down. The craze that's going to happen when the government can't shut down a decentralized exchange is going to be epic. It will be chaotic. You're going to see prices that you're going to be like, what I could buy what a 8380 with a Bitcoin, huh? What? Yeah, you're gonna see that. Now you're not gonna probably be able to sell at that price, but effectively you'll see something like that happening.
That's epic.
Yes.
And while we are talking about risks and opportunities and possibilities, how one, especially someone joining new and recently starting or mid-tier who is not pro trader with thousands of hours of training, how one can minimize that risk, mitigate that risk?
Well, you don't trade against the professionals, right? You buy, you hold, right? You don't trade if you are not a professional trader. That's the only way to mitigate against that risk. You don't go into a boxing ring, expect to beat Mike Tyson. Sorry, he's gonna knock you out. I'm gonna knock you out. I'm gonna knock you out. That's just the way it is. Right?
That's true. Then you just beat on Mike Tyson and wait next to the ring and wait him win.
Yeah, you just buy the ticket to watch, right? That's it, right? But anyways, so for example, you just buy a Bitcoin ticket and watch the fluctuations go up and down. Who cares? Let them traders fight it out.
That's cool. Today we had an incredible talk with Davinci, the man who said us to buy Bitcoin 10 years ago and who is still telling us today to buy Bitcoin. Yeah. Thanks for coming to Bitget Show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And yeah, you like my ring? It's a Bitcoin ring. And the reason why I size it for the middle finger is so that I can tell the banks to read between the lines.
Wow, that is a beautiful punchline. Thanks for watching Bitget Show. And I was your host, Vugar Usi.